reason for moving to Business Central in the cloud was a convergence of aging hardware and software infrastructure. We had been on NAV5 since 2013. Our upgrade to NAV5 was a messy and expensive process. It was difficult to make a business case for future incremental upgrades. However, over the last few years, it became very obvious we were not going to be able to stay on our old system indefinitely. Vendors and customers were increasingly asking us for technical integrations that were really pushing the boundaries of what was possible with NAV5. When we got serious about finding the new ERP, we noticed most of the applications in the space all had cloud versions or were moving in that direction. So it was a big benefit to Accutech to remain, inside the Microsoft ecosystem with Business Central. Originally, we were leaning towards an on-premise version, but after working with Western, we were convinced that the cloud version would be the most cost-effective way to move forward. Yeah, so remaining inside that Microsoft ecosystem was a big plus for us. Most of our staff have been using Microsoft Office for decades. Most of our staff members here at Accutech are kind of lifers. They're here over 15 years. So Business Central was certainly different looking than NAV5, but once we started to use the product, it was really obvious that we were just learning a new interface for a system that we already knew how to use. And that kind of felt like home once we got past some of the different pieces, and we started to look at the interface as more positives than negatives at that point, the search tool, things like that. Ultimately, I think that saved us a lot of time and effort in terms of training once we moved to the new platform. Over the last 10 years or so, we've worked with several different VARs on support issues and some small development issues, but none of our previous VARs seemed to be a good fit for this project. Frankly, we were getting disillusioned at the process. I had begun to broaden the search out, look at new VARs, new applications, things like that, and it turns out that Western's main office is very close to Accutech's office, and we decided to connect with that company that was near us, and that seems like we made the right choice. In the first meeting, we learned about the fresh start upgrade approach, and that was really something that resonated with me. We've been looking for ways to leave behind as much of our custom programming as we could, and this approach seemed to be a great way to get the data upgraded without having to bring forward all of the old code, things like that. So that really helped us out. We did a couple of soft launches, and being able to use that approach really was an impactful part of our project. We started the project, our management team, we had a real short list of requirements. One was to minimize customer disruption. One was to minimize our vendor disruption. One was to minimize staff distractions so they weren't getting caught up in trying to figure things out. And then we obviously had to be able to enter orders, ship packages, receive inventory, and post invoices on day one. And we were really able to accomplish that task with the help of the team at Western, and we had some very committed project team members here at Accutech. Like I said before, we did 2 test launches in Business Central, and we were able to work in parity with NAV5 and the new system. I think that approach that was really a Western sort of idea was very impactful in being able to have a successful final launch when we were ready to go. For the jury is still out on this. It's been 4 months now since we've launched, and I can say that our technology footprint at Accutech is becoming smaller. Not having an on-premise ERP system means we don't have to worry about hardware upgrades we were sort of facing, and some software upgrades. Obviously, we would have to upgrade database servers and things like that, as well as storage space over time. So these last few years, the infrastructure was getting older and older as our system was getting older, and we were facing some purchasing decisions that we are no longer having to face. So that's one benefit. At this point, from a boots on the ground perspective, we really didn't miss a beat. Our staff was able to hit the ground running with the new interface, especially in the warehouse. We're using a shipping software that we've been using for decades, really, and that came across with us with Business Central. The customizations are much easier to make, and the staff is able to personalize the interface as it suits them. And then lastly, I've been able to integrate our Business Central data with all of my legacy on-premise systems, which was a huge win for us. That piece of the puzzle, being able to do native API calls and easily extend capability with Extensions Marketplace, has been a big win for us. I guess I'd sum up by saying that at this point, I'm not just trying to keep the wheels on the bus, but I'm actually sort of driving the bus forward. So a lot less time is spent on sort of the the ins and outs of IT management and more focus put on our business.